different the actual kidney looks than the picture, right? So the first thing that you understand is that this is indeed a pyramid, and if it is a pyramid, that means in between would be my columns. So renal pyramid or medullary pyramid, between them would be renal columns. The papillae, right, is that tip of the pyramid, which means if I lift this up, that means this area right here is the minor calyx. Minor calyx feeds into, and I know it's hard to see here because it's really fatty, but the minor calyx feeds into the major calyx. So for test purposes, the closer I am to the ureter, which feeds here and then comes out of the kidney, the closer I am to the ureter, the more likely I am referring to the renal pelvis. The closer I am to the pyramid, the more likely I'm referring to the minor calyx. If I'm in between, does that make sense? No lie. If I'm in between the minor calyx and the renal pelvis, you have to tell me major calyx. So it's about knowing the flow. Does that make sense? On the outside here is the cortex. Unless I say name the vessels, I want you to tell me cortex. All of this, now that my probe is in, all of that is the medulla. So the renal medulla is the middle, but in the middle is where we see all these things as well. Okay? So we have the ureter. We also have, it's kind of hard to see it on this one, but I'm going to pull it so it covers again. This right here is the renal capsule, so I'm going to kind of put it back in. So the renal capsule, of course, is protective around the kidney, but once you cut it, sometimes it comes off, but that is it right there. It tells you that it's a transparent covering of the kidney. So that's renal capsule. This is the ureter. Some of them are super, super long. The ureter feeds, of course, into the bladder. Bladder temporarily stores urine. So, pyramids, columns, minor calyx, major calyx, renal pelvis, ureter, but of course, I could just actually pull the ureter and have it sitting on the side of the kidneys if I so desired. Does that make sense? Okay, that's it for the kidney. It's not that big of a deal. On this one, you can see it again. So this would be like pyramid. These would be columns. That would be papillae. That would be minor calyx, major calyx, renal pelvis, and then lead it into the ureter itself. Okay? Now, female reproductive system and urinary system on the cat. As far as urinary system on the cat, there's 4 things that you should be able to see easily. 1, you should be able to see the kidney, right? 2, you should be able to see the ureter. Ureter is leaving the kidney, going to the bladder. So we've got the kidney, we've got the ureter, we've got the bladder. Then, if it's dissected well enough, like this big boy is, you could see renal artery and renal vein. Okay? So, as long as you know your organs on the cat, you should be able to tell me renal artery and vein, because we learned them when we did the vessels. And then the ureter, this is the ureter right here, leaving the kidney, going to the bladder. So that's the bladder. Okay? Now, since she's a she, these are her uterine horns. She's pregnant. So this little bulb here is a kitten. This little bulb here is a kitten. The little bulb right there is a kitten. But this last one is actually the ovary, because the ovary terminates at the end of the uterine horns, or fallopian tubes, whatever you call it. So you can see the ovary and you can see the uterine horns on the female, and that's basically it on the female for reproductive as the cat. On our big boy over here, so again, we can see reproductive parts. So I did already this huge kidney, the ureter, and then his bladder, right? And then, of course, you can see renal artery and venal vein. Then, additionally, because he is a male, this has been cut. It shouldn't have been cut, but I'll pull it out since it was cut. This is his testicle. This is the epididymis. So I can put my probe underneath the epididymis. See how it circles around the testicle? So just like in the pictures that you saw. So that's epididymis. And then this is ductus deferens or vas deferens. Whatever you'd like to call it is fine with me. So the testicle, of course, goes in the scrotum. So I'm going to put it back in its correct anatomical position and make him act like everything's fine. There is his penis. dissected out? Yes, that's his penis. So we've got penis, we've got the testicle, we got the epididymis, we got the ductus deferens. That's about all you can see real life. You're not going to be able to see a prostate gland. You're not going to be able to see the bulbourethral gland. Does that make sense? So that's really about it. Epididymis, ductus deferens, testicle, and the penis. That's it. Okay?